business continuity. Now, what is business continuity? Okay, now, business continuity is the process by which you are anticipating uh, what kind of stoppages can be there to your business, what can affect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of your entire business process. And in case of an event, in case of any impact which can have, impact on your business processes, how you can keep your business continuity, even in the face of something which is trying to have an adverse effect on your business. Okay. The business continuity is planning. It is not implementing. You are planning that in case there is a stoppage to your business operations due to certain threat elements, due to certain risks, how you are going to put into action a plan, how you are going to earmark people, processes, resources, and drills in place so that in event of something going wrong, your organization knows what needs to be done and resources are in place. Okay. Now I will go to your slide warfare. Okay. So we have done risk management. We have done all this. We've done Nest, we've done Octave. And now we are looking at business continuity. Right. Okay. So business continuity. Now this is where I will go to slides, because now this is somewhat repetition of whatever we did in risk management. Now business continuity is the process of identifying those critical assets which are required in case of something going wrong. Okay. So why do we do business continuity? Because we want to minimize the risks to the organization, and we want to have continuous operations. Okay, that is why we plan business continuity. Now business continuity becomes part of your overall governance framework, right? So once, if you become a CISO, what are the 4 things you're going to do? You're going to establish a governance framework, you're going to establish a risk management framework, you're going to understand compliance, you're going to understand the human threat, okay, and implement controls around human threat. And finally, what you're going to do is understand the business continuity requirements. Okay. Okay. And lastly would be legal and regulatory and privacy, which we will discuss, but that becomes part of the compliance only. But these are the 5 main processes as a CISO. If tomorrow I make you CISO, please first establish this. First look at this way of arranging things. And let me tell you, most of the CISOs don't know this. Okay. Why? Because most of those CISOs have not done CISSP. Right. So if you're looking at business continuity, what are the factors which are most critical to your organization, which need to be working in case of some stoppages in the business continuity? So how do you carry out business continuity, right? Firstly, you lay down the scope. What will be the scope of the business continuity planning, right? What all are in the scope? Okay. Then you carry out a business impact analysis. You carry out that in case a risk materializes, what will be its impact? Right? But this impact analysis you are doing from the point of view of business continuity. So you're doing a risk management already. From there, you're getting the risk feeds. And now you have the impact feeds already, but you have found out which are the risks which are going to have a impact on your continuity of your business operations. And you do that impact analysis of only those risks. A risk of a denial of service attack may not be very, very critical to your organization in case you just maintain a website, right? If you just have a website, an information website, and somebody carries out denial of service attack, that risk is not going to stop your operations because you manufacture cars and somebody is attacking your website. You're at least bothered, right? But if you are AWS and somebody is attacking your AWS major portal, then it's a loss of business because you're not, I'm not able to access the AWS main page, right? So impact analysis is to understand which are the risks which will have impact on the continuity of the business. And then you do continuity planning, You create a document, get it approved, and implement it. You tell everyone what you need to do, what you need to do, what you need to do. You walk through, you do a structured walkthrough, you carry out drills, fire prevention drills. Fire is a critical, hazard. So, the fire impact is the highest, earthquake impacts are the highest. So, in case fire and earthquakes happen or terror strikes happen, what needs to be done, right? And you do the drills and practices. Okay. Now, once you do project scope and planning, in project scope and planning, basically is something what we did in risk management. Understand the business context, understand the business objectives. Okay. What is the organization doing? Okay. So it is generally similar to what we did in risk management and governance framework. Okay. We're doing something similar, but here the CISO is not doing it. The BCP team does it. Okay. So you select a BCP team which carries out an organizational review. It carries out what call of resources you require for business continuity, which are the risks which are critical, which are going to affect operations. You also try to understand legal and regulatory requirements for business continuity. Like in case there is a fire, okay, you might have to depend on law enforcement agencies. You might have to call fire services, you have to call ambulance services, you have to call. So all this becomes part of your business continuity planning. So you find out, you create a team from all the departments. Now, this is not a CISO functioning. The CISO is responsible, may or may not be responsible. The CISO is looking at from the security point of view. So if an organization is carrying out a business continuity planning, the security team, the IT team, the facilities management team, the maintenance teams, everyone will be there. And for any process to kick in an organization effectively, it should always be a top-down approach. So if you are doing BCP planning also, it is good that some top-level management says that, okay, we will have a business continuity planning exercise wherein a BCP team will carry out planning for business continuity, right? Now, if you're looking at IT, in a IT related aspects, then of course you can make a IT, someone from the IT department responsible, somebody from the physical department responsible for all. So there could be a lot of teams, HR teams, all the verticals which are responsible for responding in case of a risk materializing, which can have an impact on your business continuity. Okay. Senior management support is always very, very important. Now, once the BCP team sits down and they understand what is the requirement, what is the next thing, they find out what are the resources required in case there is a stoppage in the continuity operations. In case there are stoppages in the continuity operations, you might require additional resources, and they bring it out in their planning parameters. Okay. And then once you have understood what are the resource requirements, okay, you allocate those resources, you project the requirement of hardware, software, additional employees if you require. And in case the disaster strikes, then all this planning which has been done is put into place. Okay. Now, generally, in regulated environments, a business continuity planning is compulsory. Now, imagine where there is threat to life, oil and natural gas, transportation, where there is threat to life, which is very regulated places, you will have business continuity planning as a formal requirement. Okay. There could be a legal and regulatory requirement for you to have business continuity planning in place. Like RBI has a very beautiful business continuity planning requirements from banks in case of major attacks or major failures. Okay. So they have a very, big backup policy and, backup testing policy. So how business continuity is planned is once you've allocated the resource, you need to test those resources also. You might be taking good backups, but if you are not testing how to recover from a backup, if a disaster strikes, I'm telling you that you will never be able to recover from a backup. And that's why, unless you have practiced it. Okay. So that is a major requirement. Okay. So I have a small question and then we will move ahead. Right. So unless you know what you need to secure, right, you cannot develop anything. Right. And that's why finding your critical assets which are required for are the most important, what is the most important task. Right. Right. We will do this later. So now to find that important asset, you do carry out a business impact analysis. So what do you do in business impact analysis? What we did in risk management. Okay. Similar technique. Okay. You find out the processes, the assets which are important for continued business operations. You can do it in a quantitative manner or you can do it in a qualitative manner, and then start prioritizing which are the most important assets and the processes. Okay. Now, one of the most important assessment which you do take into consideration in when you are assessing business impact and when you're doing business impact analysis is something called maximum tolerable downtime. Okay, MTD. So say your systems are operating normally, okay, and a disaster strikes, right? So systems start going into fault. Okay. And there is up to certain point of time where you can recover the system because the catastrophe has not happened. But after a certain point of time, a catastrophic failure will happen and system will go into a very heavy failure mode. Now you have to recover. Your aim is to try to recover the systems up to which the tolerance of your organization exists. That means there's a point up to which losses are acceptable. And that point is called a recovery point objective. Okay. Up to which certain data losses is acceptable. If a denial of service attack takes place on Amazon's app, you say, okay, I have lost 2,000 customers in last 20 seconds. It's acceptable. It's within my tolerance range. So that's why the business continuity professionals will try to recover the systems before this RPO hits. Okay. After RPO crosses, then your complete business continuity planning process kicks in. Okay. Right now, initial responders are trying to recover the systems within the RPO. But the moment RPO crosses, your business continuity kicks in. Why? Because you have started approaching your maximum tolerable downtime. Because beyond maximum tolerable downtime, your systems will become non-recoverable. The systems will go into high fault zone. And that's why your maximum tolerable, your business continuity planning needs to understand what is the recovery time objective. You have to recover before MTD. Your recovery time objective should always be less than your maximum tolerable downtime. Am I clear? Okay. And this is what is explained in this particular graph. Okay. You have certain RPO. This is the tolerable. But if you are within the RTO, then you are able to go back to your normal operations, right? Beyond that, your systems become non-recoverable. So these two parameters are very important. The moment something, to disaster to strike, you will have certain initial losses. But what is the time when you declare a emergency? Initially small things happen, you try to recover systems, and then you say, no, this is going beyond my control. I have to raise the level. You raise the level at RPO. Okay. You need to define. Right. All the slides are available, guys. You should go through it. Why I'm trying not to teach from slides is because then you stick to the slides. You cannot explain too many. Okay. Too much concepts. So once you do business, but now this is more of a repetition. So that's why I'm going to the slides. Okay. Now, what do you do in business impact analysis? Now, business impact analysis doesn't look at small risks. Okay. Denial of service attacks will not cause you disasters. What causes disasters? Natural risks, man-made risks. Okay. Cloud data center power system shutdown, flooding. Such risks are risks which will impact your business continuity and disaster recovery efforts. Okay. What you do, same, you identify the risk, you find out what is the annual rate of occurrence. So something like in California, right? You have 57 minor earthquakes in a year, and major data centers are located in California, San Jose, and Mountain View, and all the places, right? So they have such data sheets as to what is the expected disaster strike probability, right? Okay. Then you do same thing. You carry out an SLE analysis, ALE analysis, and then you try to find out which risks is critical for you. And then you try to implement controls the same way in which we did the risk analysis. Okay. And then once you have found out that flooding is the major concern for you or earthquake is the major concern for you, you allocate resources. Okay. You have a hot site ready or a cold site ready or a hybrid site ready somewhere. You have a containerized site so that your minimum business operations continue from that particular slate. Okay. Then what do? You do continuity planning wherein you develop a strategy as to how you will implement this. You allocate the resources. Okay, if you require 20 odd more servers or you require a hot site somewhere else, okay, or you can do disaster recovery in the cloud. Okay, so your everything is running on premise, and then you decide that why not take my recovery and business continuity to cloud. My main thing shuts down, I push it to cloud, or I my on-premise systems have gone out of date, they are reaching end of service life. Let me take my main operations to cloud and keep the on-premise side as my BC and DR strategy, right? We do that, right? All organizations do that. Now, when you develop a strategy, it is based on your maximum tolerable downtime, recovery time objectives, and recovery point objectives. Okay, you build a strategy around these three figures. Okay, then you allocate people, you allocate resources, you allocate infrastructure. Okay, you might harden your existing infrastructure in case it's a natural risk, right? Or it's a man-made risk like a terrorist strike. Okay. So if you look at 2008 terrorist strikes, hotels are now very, very, in the Bombay, at least they have very strict, security arrangements. Okay. Once all this is done, you need to create a plan. You need to document the plan. You need to get it approved from the CEO or someone important so that it adds weight. And then you implement the complete plan, you make procedures, SOPs, and then you train and educate everyone in your organization to implement the BCP. How do you implement BCP? You can do implementation BCP by, I'll tell you, there's something called structured walkthrough. Is it there? Okay. Okay. So now once you have done this, now you want to train, right? How do you train? You carry out mock drills. Okay, you can carry out mock drills. You can do interruption tests. What do you do in an interruption test? You stop the production and see that your business continuity can recover your systems within the given RPO or the given RTO, right? Okay, so you do a lot of documentation in business continuity planning documents. One of the thing is first is the statement of importance. What is the statement of importance? The CEO says that BCP is important and he signs the statement of importance. Then the BCP team carries out statement of priorities. What are the business operations which are critical for business continuity? Okay, and then what is the organizational responsibility? Okay, now, business continuity is not one man's responsibility, it is everybody's responsibility, but the business continuity planning team creates a plan, trains everyone, and implements the plan. Okay. There will be many such documents. There will be statement of urgency, risk assessment, risk acceptance. So whatever you did in risk management, here you are doing only on the risk which can cause major failures. Okay. One of the important part of business continuity planning is to understand what is a vital records program. So what is a vital records program? A vital records program is where your organization's important documents are stored. Not applicable these days to organizations which are completely digital, but then government organizations where they have lot of file systems and other things. You need to know when a disaster strikes, how those files will be moved out, or where do you have a hardened shelter where these files can be kept? What is the backup procedure to create for such documentation, right? Once you have done this, then you issue something called a emergency response guidelines. Emergency response guidelines are basically guidelines for everyone. If fire happens, who will go where, what will be done, which is the exit. Okay, if a flood happens, what will be done. So all these are nominated and told to people, right? And finally is maintenance. Is you maintain the plan, you test the plan frequently, once in a quarter or once in a year, whatever is your risk assessment says. And then you plan out testing and exercises, recovery from backup, shifting from main site to the alternate site. All these things we do as BCPDR professionals. Okay. So organizations have BCPDR. In critical organizations, you have BCDR professionals who manage this entire BCDR vertical to meet to emergencies when they strike.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe our channel.